Good day, people. It's TJR here. Terrence Joseph Reardon, that is, from TJR's Classic Rock Corner. And this is my brother, uh, RJT. How's it going, eh? Welcome to another live stream. Oh my goodness. Seeing if we have any people joining the feed. If not, so be it. But as the title tells you what it is and why I'm going to be talking about the real Van Halen, the original four, not that crap with Van Gina. I mean, Sammy Hagar. But the original four cats of Van Halen: Dave, Eddie, Alex, and Mikey. The only Van Halen that matters. Long live Van Halen, the original lineup. And I recently decided to go back and listen to all the Van Halen albums. I have all 6 original lineup era albums, all of them the 2015 remasters. Hello, Alexander. Hope you're real. If you're a bot, AI, out you go. Don't like these AI bots or scumbags trying to ruin my video. Today I'm going to be talking about Van Halen and why the original lineup is king. Yeah, because I learned a long time ago, my brothers and sisters, good. Because, I'm going to quote the Junkyard Dog. This country, America, never had no queen. This country never had no king. And the only people I bow down to is my good Lord above. But Van Halen, the original lineup, they were something else. Between 1978 and 1984, they released 6 perfect albums. It's like a 6 perfect album, one of the best perfect album runs in the history of rock and roll. Van Halen. David Lee Roth, Eddie Van Halen, may he lay in peace, Michael Anthony, and Alex Van Halen. I mean, and I've been listening to these albums for over 42 years now. Started with Diver Down. Then I heard the second album. No, excuse me, the first album, as I hiccuped. Then 1984, when that came out, Fair Warning, Women and Children First, and Van Halen 2 I heard last. Vic Nuggets, are you real? If so, hello. If you're a bot and asking me a stupid question, hit the bricks. Goofy Goober, sheesh. Are you one of those bots, AI guys? Seriously. You want to ask me anything about real Van Halen? You're more than welcome to, because I'm the God bless you too, my man. Van Halen 2. Oh, good thing you're real. Good. Excellent. Perfect. Talking about the first Van Halen. The real Van Halen. Oh my goodness. Hello, Pixel Perfect. Van Halen. Mr. Mahesh, you're out of there, to quote the baseball player. Like an umpire, I throw out the bots. I throw out the fakes. I want real human beings watching this, because I'm trying to promote the show. Thank you very much, Mackenzie. How's it going, country's world? Good day, eh? Sheesh, I sound like a Canadian. Speaking of that movie, Mel Blanc voiced the father of Bob and Doug McKenzie. That's why it was even more badass. Save some beer for me, eh? What the hell's going on up there? What happened to Eddie Van Halen? He passed away. So, oh, am I a Catholic? Of course. Mohit Suri, why am I bald? My hair thinned out. When you lose your hair, you either shave or wear a piece or wear a wig. I don't do either. I'd rather just be Stone Cold Steve Austin and raise hell and talk trash and piss people off when they piss me off. So don't piss me off. What happened to Eddie Van Halen? He passed on from cancer and a stroke. Damn cancer to hell. And it was because of that son of a bitch thing, COVID. Eddie Van Halen couldn't get cured from cancer. Thank you very much. Van Halen. Professor Xavier. Well, Yuri Ivan Drago, you're gone. They're not going to like it. Yeah, cancer sucks, man. Oh, my goodness. L.W. Plummer. Oh my goodness. I know your mom, my thoughts and prayers that your grandmother passed from cancer. My grandmother passed from bone cancer. She quit smoking 19 years beforehand, but secondhand smoke got her and ate her to the bone. It's a damn shame, man. You know, it's, and I know losing a, Mackenzie, I'm glad you're laughing your ass off with me talking trash to the AI bums. And losing Eddie Van Halen to cancer was no fun. In fact, he also had a stroke while he was getting treated. And because COVID happened, he had that stroke and it put him out of commission. Dang crispid bastards. Yeah. Neil Peart of Rush, he had cancer of the brain, killed him. The late Rick Wright of Pink Floyd, he had cancer, ate him to the bone. Happy Father's Day. Tupac, Jung, go back and eat some egg rolls, you bastard. My mother's dead, jerk. It's not funny. Yeah, we do need a cure for cancer. Hit me with a controversial take you have. I don't want to get. Well, if you read the stream, Tommy, it's Van Halen versus Van Gina, aka Sammy Hagar era Van Halen. For those who don't habla. Yeah. My favorite wrestlers are Stone Cold Steve Austin, classic era rock, CM Punk. Man. Happy Father's Day. My father, my father's 80 years old and he's still with me. God bless him. I take care of him now. It's my full-time job. I'm retired from working, so I take care of my dad. He's 80 years old. And I actually had shedded tears of joy before I went to bed, uh, acknowledging the fact that my dad is still with me. Undertaker, my favorite Undertaker persona was Ministry of Darkness Taker. Kind of a tweener, anti-hero, mixture of good guy and bad guy. Yeah. Yeah, my dad's a good egg. In fact, my dad's my biggest champion and helped me through my autism related struggles over the years. So it's the least I can do is return the favor and take care of him as he gets older and older. And thank you very much. You know, and losing people to cancer like Eddie Van Halen, Neil Peart, Richard Wright of Pink Floyd, Sid Barrett. Well, there's another Pride Day in the midst of this month, which is my day, Autism Pride Day, for us autistic people. Undertaker was original with purple. That's probably my second or third favorite. My first, the Stones. I have an episode on the Stones I'm going to be working on. I'm going to be re-airing a Tattoo You episode. I have to cut out as many profanities as possible and talk about the live documents released, Still Life, and what's that other one? Hampton Coliseum. I already said hello, Mackenzie. I've already said hello. Crappy duo. Thank you very much, Mike. Much obliged. But the crappy duo, no Puff Daddy allowed on my show. And if you bring up Puff Daddy, Pete Diddley, Squat, whatever that bastard's name is, your ass is out of here. Because this show is strictly classic rock. Van Halen. Yeah. I was diagnosed with autism when I was 3 years old. We had a month in April. Time and Tide MD, God bless you, my man. Pink Floyd are one of the greatest bands in the history of mankind. Actually, they're my favorite band of all time, and I love all eras of Pink Floyd. Yes, you can love every era of the band. And the only song of theirs I really don't like is not on an album, mercifully. And it was Heartbeat Pigmeat on the Zabriskie Point soundtrack because it was gung, 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 gung for 3 minutes. You're like, shut the hell up. And coming number 51 was a useless remake of Careful with That Axe, Eugene. The Eagles. They were one of my gateways into rock and roll. And by the way, Steven, I have an episode on the long run which is probably now my most successful episode on this show so far, with 2,500 plays on YouTube. It's been up for a while. I just hope Don Henley doesn't pull it down, because I know he has a tendency of being a Mr. Hair across his backside. And since the album was played at a very low volume, we could barely hear the damn thing, so I get busted by the copyright police. I get away with it. Excuse me, ZZ Top. Man, oh man, everything they did up through up through Recycle, the London albums and the Warner Brothers albums, they did no wrong. Once they went to RCA, RCA ruined them, man. Keep Talking by Pink Floyd. One of the best songs they ever did. As a matter of fact, that was the first single from the album released here in the good old United States. Voodoo Lounge. Yeah, that was actually the second that was the first Rolling Stones album I got the week of its second Rolling Stones album I got the week of its release. First was Flashpoint in 91. Then I got Voodoo Lounge in 94. I was actually in Hampton Beach, New Hampshire with my dad for a family vacation for a week. Arrived there, drove from South Shore, Massachusetts up to Hampton Beach. I was listening to Rainbow, Straight Between the Eyes, and hard rock and metal in the car of my dad. Had them on my headphones, of course. And my brother was behind me listening to hip-hop rap bullshit. Kaleidoscope Duration. I love the Eric Cartman thing. Cartman rules. And I'm not a Nazi either, dude. Anyway. Oh boy. As I was saying about Voodoo Lounge. Love Is Strong was the first single. I was familiar with it. I was like, okay. Then I get the CD just for kicks and giggles, and I'm like, shit, this is a great record. You Got Me Rockin', Sparks Will Fly, The Worst, Out of Tears, a beautiful ballad, I Go Wild, Through and Through, which was the closer on the cassette and the vinyl record. And then, of course, on the CD, you had Mean Disposition as a bonus track, which was the first time since Undercover that Mick Jagger got to sing a lead vocal to close the album. That was a great record, too. A lot of people hate Undercover. Man, oh man. I mean, it was hard being a classic rock fan and a hard rock and metal fan in 94. The year I graduated high school. Voodoo Lounge is underrated. Yeah, you were born the year of Voodoo Lounge. God bless you. I graduated the year you were born. I graduated from high school June 4th, 1994. Creedence Clearwater Revival. Another kick-ass band. Nazo. My hair thinned out. I shaved it. I shaved my head bald. There's a reason I shaved my head bald. It's because I would rather walk around with no hair than having a wig or a piece or surgically implanted. That's not my thing. Plus the fact I hated waking up every morning and having alfalfa sprout. And no, not so. I'm not bullshitting you. You know what? Nazo, to quote Cody Rhodes, go fuck yourself. Sorry, folks. And Gamer Pro 3, to quote Cody Rhodes, you go fuck yourself. Sorry, I apologize, folks. CCR, amazing band. There's a lot of great deep tracks of theirs that were not on some of the albums. It Came From the Sky, that was on a WKRP episode. That show was great. Oh my goodness. Raw and SmackDown. Yeah, I've been watching wrestling since I was about 7 going on 8 years old, so I've been watching for over 40 some odd years. And I remember when Hogan won the title from the Iron Sheik. That was the day before my 8th birthday. It was on USA because I had one of the first to have cable in my neck of the woods. So I go way back. That was also the same month that Van Halen's 1984 was released. Music, Pro Wrestling, Baseball. Yep, music, pro wrestling, baseball, and basketball. And I love watching football, but I'm a drummer, and I was named after a hockey legend. Number 24 of the Boston Bruins, Terry O'Reilly. The Tasmanian Devil of the NHL back in the day. Yeah, join the club. I mean, I got into wrestling just by accident. I mean, being the youngest of 8 kids in my family, wrestling was kind of like a religion, especially in the Northeast with World Wrestling Federation. And then because my brother was getting older and he thought it was getting too embarrassing, he stopped watching, and because of him, I couldn't watch it for a while. Then 1993, it took my best friend in the world of now 38 years to get me back into wrestling with, ironically, WrestleMania 9. Looking back, it wasn't that great, but at least that was the event that got me back into it after taking a sabbatical, if it were. Try sharing a house with one television or two televisions. One doesn't have cable, and you have to deal with family members who want to watch unsolved mysteries ad nauseum. Uh, Jerome, I only want women to touch me. I don't want no dudes. No kidding, man. That's great. You were there when Cody won it, my brother. They had a WrestleMania in Boston in 1998, WrestleMania 14, when Steve Austin won the title. Seb does stuff. I'm trying to talk music, but people are asking me all sorts of questions. Oh man, bless your heart, Tommy, you rule. So a lot of people are asking me a lot of crazy questions. I'm trying to get to everybody's answers. And if you're nice and ask me about music, it's cool. You mean my fault. Because God, I'm gonna sound like George Carlin when I say this. People who say my bad are just plain old bad. Stop talking like you're black. Stick to your polkas and line dancing shit. Yeah, WrestleMania 14. Kane versus Undertaker when Kane got tombstone by Pete Rose and the crowd went ape. I watched the pay-per-view as it happened. This crowd in Boston loved it. And JR was going nuts. The King was going crazy. The crowd was going insane. I couldn't go because it was sold out, but I ordered the pay-per-view right there. I was like, it was the next best thing to be in there. Steve Austin beating Shawn Michaels for the title thanks to the double cross from Mike Tyson. Do I play an instrument, Seb? Yes, I play several. Guitars, bass guitar, drums, percussion, keyboards. Drums and percussion, I was in marching band for over 3 years as percussionist, meaning I played bass, drum, quad tom, some snare, and various different percussive instruments. And I was codenamed Cozy Neil Moon. Part Cozy Powell, part Neil Peart, part Keith Moon. Guitar, drums, keyboard, trumpet, and banjo. Bless you, man. They didn't want a rock and roller as class musician. All they wanted was some kid who was into, what do you call it? I guess jazz and, I don't know, John Williams orchestral music. I'm into rock and roll, so they don't like musicians who, shred or play the drums like a hurricane. Your two favorite guitarists are Keith Richards and Billy Gibbons. Let's just say I have 5 of them. Number 1, David Gilmour. Number 2, Jimmy Page. Number 3, Brian May. Number 4, Eddie Van Halen. Number 5, Alex Lifeson. 25 or 6 to 4, yes. The song that they nicked from Led Zeppelin's cover of Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You from the first album. Yeah. And people accuse Led Zeppelin of plagiarism. Chicago plagiarized Led Zeppelin. And they didn't complain. Everyone plagiarizes from everybody. God. Yeah. Chicago up through Chicago 17 was decent. Once Peter Cetera was gone, I lost interest. And one of my favorite songs of theirs was an album rock hit, but it was not a pop hit, called Stay the Night. Bass guitarists, I've got quite a few of them as well. One of them is underrated. That's John Deacon. Another one would be Geezer Butler of Black Sabbath, Geddy Lee from Rush, John Entwistle, Chris Squire. Chris Squire was like the king of progressive rock bass players. Your first concert was Steve Winwood and Tom Petty. You got to see Tom Petty. I salute you, man. My first concert was The Who at the old Gillette Stadium, a.k.a. Foxborough Stadium, a.k.a. Sullivan Stadium, July 1989, on their first reunion tour. Michael Jackson, I don't like kid diddlers. I mean, he's a talent, but I disdain kid diddlers. Paying off hush money to victims makes me sick to my stomach. Yeah, I'm from the South Shore of Massachusetts, to be precise. I was born and raised in Brockton, which is born in Brockton, Massachusetts, raised in the town next over of Whitman. Matt Freeman, good bass player, but once you heard Jonnet whistle, everyone else is like, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I mean, everyone made a big deal about his death. Didn't bother me. In fact, the rock star death that hit me the most was Richard Wright of Pink Floyd. Because I'll never forget that when that happened, when Rick died. I was in South Carolina for a family emergency, and um, someone said, something about Pink Floyd. I go, yeah. I'm like, okay, whatever. Oh, boy. That nerd emoji guy. Here's what I said about Michael Jackson. Kid diddler. And he made me sick to my stomach. Kid diddler. I frown upon, yeah, Rick Wright. Yeah, I go to David Gilmour's site just a week before Live in Gdansk was to hit the record stores. I got the deluxe, super deluxe edition, and it said, "I will miss Rick." I'm like, "Is he retiring? Is it what?" Then I go to a Pink Floyd website. There was the news: Richard Wright, 1943 to 2008. My jaw went hit the floor. When Wright died, I was devastated. And typical American media, Rick's death. Yeah, that's the excuse. Oh, he wasn't a pred. He was trying to have a childhood, my ass. It's called we all make our choices. Some kids choose to have a childhood. Some want the fame and the fortune. Michael Jackson wanted money and attention. He knew what he was doing. Don't give me that crap. No male guy sleeps with children. That's disgusting. And Britney Spears is no better either. She's a child beater, paid off bodyguards for her beating the crap out of her kids with a belt. In fact, well, Michael Jackson committed suicide. And there's a place for him, and it's not heaven. He's roasting down below. And I don't want to hear that crap. Him and Britney Spears craved attention. They had ADD, and they would do anything and everything to get the attention. Don't give me that crap. Yeah, I'm from the United States of America, Massachusetts. Bless your heart, Tommy. Rick Wright. So yeah, I read about his passing. The American media treated his death like an afterthought. No one gave a crap about it. But there was one man that did a great tribute to Rick when he died. Redbeard, the host of In the Studio with Redbeard. And he did a 30-minute interview with Rick just prior to the release of the Division Bell album. And he did an episode devoted to Rick's memory and aired the entire interview with Rick. I had something to do with it because I'm a huge Pink Floyd fan. Yeah. Charlie Watts and Dusty Hill. I got to see the Rolling Stones twice. Once in 2002 on the Licks tour, the second show of the tour, and I saw him at Fenway Park in 2005, just a few weeks before a bigger bang at the record stores. Excuse me, which is also an underrated album. It was actually I got that CD the day after it came out because I had to go all the way to up a highway to see what's that? Yeah, just to grab a bigger bang. Oh man, Tommy, your rule. And both times I saw the Stones, they played Brown Sugar, a song that they don't want you to hear on the radio anymore. But every time I hear that song, it puts a big smile on my face. In fact, that was the opening song on the Licks tour. Night number 2 of the tour, the first and only show at Foxborough that tour in Gillette Stadium. They played the album spotlights that tour were Let It Bleed and Some Girls. Each album had 4 songs apiece from it. That nerd emoji guy. You don't like the fact, avoid my messages. You're also a Britney Spears fan. Nerd emoji guy. Michael Jackson and Britney Spears can go straight to hell, as you should too. I'm closer to Foxborough, actually. Foxborough is about 20 minutes from my house. Boston's like an hour plus away, because I'm now living on the outskirts near Norton. Your dad saw Queen in the 80s. Man, oh man, your dad must have been that must have been ass kicking. The Magic Tour. They last toured America in 1982. Live at Pompeii. I have the Steven Wilson mix. Best version of it out there. The new Steven Wilson mix. I have it CD, I have it vinyl, and the Blu-ray. And I have the Blu-ray in the box set the early years, which was remixed by Andy Jackson. Wasn't bad, but oh man, that's good. 10 to 15 minutes from Philadelphia. And yeah, I saw Pink Floyd at the old Foxborough Stadium in May '94. I skipped my senior prom to do so. Still the best decision I ever made. People were like, oh, why'd you skip your prom? Philadelphia Phillies and Philadelphia Eagles fan. In fact, I was happy to see the Philadelphia Eagles kick the shit out of the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, stick that in your trophy case, Mr. Taylor Swift. Sorry. And the Phillies beating the Tampa Bay Rays. I mean gays. I mean, you know what I mean. Um Tampa Bay. They got their asses kicked in the World Series in 2008. Our Red Sox wore them out. Current Patriot Stadium. It's actually a little better than the old stadium. Pirates Steelers. Bless your heart. The Pirates, they're due for a World Series. They haven't won one since 1979. Jimmy Carter was president. Mr. Peanut Farmer, Jimmy Carter. Sorry, I'm a man of all trades today. And that was the year that rock and roll rose from the dead, especially when Led Zeppelin released In Through the Outdoor that August. Because rock music and album sales were going through a decline at that point. Now, the rock and roll resurrection of 1979, when In Through the Outdoor was released by Led Zeppelin, people stopped buying new wave and bought more hard rock records. I love the Philadelphia Eagles prefer baseball and Phillies. Yeah, in the 1980s. Thank you very much. The 1980s Philadelphia Phillies team, one of the best. You had Tug McGraw, Pete Rose. I forgot a few other players. I pooped yourself. Are you a bot? If so, get out of here. Because the 2008 Phillies kind of gave me the vibe of the 1980 Phillies. So I just played as many 1980 type tracks you could think of from rock and roll that were the biggest albums of the year. And I think it worked. Because when I was watching that series, I was playing like Back in Black from AC/DC, Duke from Genesis, Women and Children First by Van Halen, Emotional Rescue by the Stones, Empty Glass by Pete Townsend, Pink Floyd's The Wall, which was the biggest selling album of 1980. Most people are like, oh, that came out in 79. Well, The Wall's impact was 80. 70s rock or 80s rock? Whew. I think any rock and roll from 1964 up through 1994, a lot of greatness in it. It kind of started to go pear-shaped. 80s rock. Well, there's a lot of great 80s rock bands like Iron Maiden, Judas Priest. Well, Judas Priest were in the 70s, but their impact was the 80s. Rush were bigger in the 80s than they were in the 70s. Some 90s rock wasn't bad, but the trouble was he had a lot of things. Yeah. What inspired me to go bald? Well, I'll talk to my oldest brother. He came home with his head shaved Valentine's Day 94 and said, you want to look like your big brother? I said, sure, why not? My entire high school class went into a shock that I would do such a thing in dead of winter. But I was an outlaw and I didn't give a shit. Merci beaucoup. Any rock from 50s to 90s, you got that right. It's just once Nickelback came along and those new metal bastards, they took out the guitar solo. That pissed me off. Because how can you have rock and roll without guitar solos? The Fix, great band. It's a shame that they were pigeonholed. And yeah, another thing about The Fix, they opened for the Police on their Synchronicity tour here in the States. And they did a number of shows with Supertramp on the Famous Last Words tour, or the Famous Last tour, as it was christened, which was the final tour with the classic Supertramp lineup. Roger Hodgson, Rick Davies, John Helliwell, Doogie Thompson, and Bob Siebenberg. Ozzy, that was the first heavy metal album I owned. Or actually the third heavy metal album I owned, I should say. Bark at the Moon. Yeah, and there's only like a handful of current bands I like. Rival Sons is one of them. They've been around for 16 years. Matt Gilmore, the son of David Gilmore, he's put out quite a few good records over the last few years. Mirador, which is a new band started by the guitarist of Greta Van Fleet, with a singer who reminds me of Paul Rogers, and it's two singers in the band. So I'm a fan of those bands where they have more than one voice. You have like the two voices, altering points of view. I mean, look at Kiss. They had four singers in the band at the same time. Pink Floyd, usually three. That's David Gilmour, Roger Waters, and Rick Wright. Sid Barrett was the main singer on the first album, but then it was Gilmour, Wright, and Waters. Waters would have a vocal or two. Rick would have multiple lead vocals, etc., etc., etc. Man, oh man, oh man. Even Queen. Freddie Mercury was the main singer, but Roger Taylor and Brian May got to have a vocal or two per album. That was up through the game anyway. Which is the next episode I'm recording. Tomorrow I have a new episode going up on Brothers in Arms by Dire Straits, which I had to re-record one of the parts of the video. Because one of the verses of the song talks about a term which would offend people. But when I was a kid, that term didn't mean what it meant now. But you all know what I mean. So I'll have to use the politically correct. Tears for Fears. Songs from the Big Chair. Masterpiece. One of the best albums ever made. Actually, I had it when it came out. My sister had it, and then 3 weeks later, my mother bought me my own copy. So my sister wouldn't have a stroke from me stealing her tape. Hall & Oates. It's a shame what happened. Daryl Hall's ego got out of control. John Oates, I preferred his voice anyway. He didn't have to go singing in the falsetto, shrieking territory. That's why Daryl Hall threw out his voice. John Oates, mercifully, his singing voice, I can listen to John Oates' voice any day of the week. How does it feel to be back in my arms again? The cover of You Lost That Loving Feeling. Oh, you mean Gomer Pyle from Full Metal Jacket. Let's see. The lead singer of the guitarist of the Gin Blossoms was a very sad story. They kicked him out of the band just when the album was released. He wrote the songs on the first album and sadly took his life. And I'm trying to think. It's beyond sad. Yeah. Once the guitarist took his own life, the original lead guitarist, their popularity kind of eventually slowly curtailed down after that big first album that was all over the place in my high school, my senior year. It's one of those strange dichotomies that certain things will do well and then other things won't do so well. It's just the changing name of the game, I suppose. My throat's a little dry. Man, oh man, oh man. Hang tight, folks. I'll be right back. Talk amongst yourselves. And to quote General MacArthur, I shall return. Devers hated Trump. Okay, folks, I've returned. I apologize. I said hello. I had to run Hollywood Hogan in 95. You were 12. I saw WCW when I came to the the Fleet Center in 97, and the NWO got cheered. Usually they get booed, but here in New England, because New England is World Wrestling Federation turf, they were cheered. Who's my favorite NBA team? Simple. Boston Celtics, because I'm from the Bay State. I'm from Massachusetts, so you have to be a Boston Celtic fan. And I'm a Boston Bruin fan. Excuse me. And let me see. People saying Devers is the best player on the Red Sox. Let me see. Red Sox, Devers. Oh, my goodness. Dolomite, whatever you call yourself, get your ass out of here with your bot crap. I didn't like Devers anyway. Now I don't mean to get political, folks, but yeah, Ric Flair is the best. You don't like it? Learn to love it. Woo! You and I, limousine riding, jet flying, wheeling dealing, kiss stealing, son of a guns, because we're partners. Woo! My high school diploma, 1994. College degree, 2000. I'm a classic rock show. I have a new podcast episode coming up in tomorrow. Brothers in Arms by Dire Straits. I'm reading this. Right fielder Jordan Hicks, lefty Kyle Harrison, and two prospects. And I'm reading this. Oh my god! I'm just reading something about this Red Sox thing. Oh my goodness! And Devers was not playing that great anyway. I mean, yeah, Cena carried the WWE. However, he was like the Britney Spears of wrestling as far as I'm concerned. Mark, I'm retired. I had to retire from the workforce because my autism spectrum disorder went completely batshit crazy. Yeah. I'm just reading some things. And my brother's all bent out of shape here. Reading this. Yeah. Devers. I didn't like Devers anyway. Yeah, they traded. Yeah. That's funny. Oh, bless your heart, Venger. The Von Erichs ruled. That was my childhood. I watched World Class every Saturday morning. Underrated bands from the 90s. Yeah. Ain't that the truth? Well, Mark, I live in the Bay State known as Taxachusetts. Just kidding, Mass. I mean, I don't agree with the political climate here. However, the doctors here are great. The restaurants are awesome. The dentists are great. So you got to take the good with the bad. I lived in South Carolina. That was like hell on earth. Bullied, depressed, miserable. Country rednecks give me a bunch of crap for listening to music. You got that right. Jesus Christ is king. You got that right. I can't believe the presidential candidate from last year got butthurt for the guy saying Jesus Christ is king and kicking him out of her rally. Shows she's a closeted atheist. Amen. Jesus Christ is king. Remember that, folks. Hey, brother. How's it going, eh? Missouri. Thank goodness you're in more of a rural conservative state, St. Louis notwithstanding, of course. And Kansas City is on the border of Kansas City and Kansas. Of Kansas and Missouri, take your pick. There's just a line between them. Which version of Jesus Christ is king? Oh my goodness. I mean, it was buried under the. Oh yeah, someone yelling, Jesus Christ is king or Jesus Christ is Lord. You get all bent out of shape. They throw you out of there. typical radical extreme atheist where there's respectful atheists out there. I have friends that are respectful atheists. But we don't get into pissing contests about religion because it's not going to work. I'm not a Mormon. I'm a Catholic. And I'm glad I'm a Catholic because I was too subscribed to being a fundamentalist preacher. I wouldn't be listening to half of the bands I love. In fact, I hate most of the bands I love. The Joel Osteens, the Jimmy Swaggarts, they give people like me a bad reputation. Jimmy Swaggart, he was a joke. Oh, please forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. Tommy, join the club. I'm conservative too. I live outside of Boston. Boston's liberal, but I'm in a more conservative town of Norton. And I grew up in the conservative town of Whitman. And get this. Let me just say this. Ronald Reagan won Massachusetts not once, but twice. Well, I'll tell you why I'm conservative, politically speaking. I don't like too much government. Government's good, but when they abuse their power, I like to try and conserve my money. The military, my father served in the Army for 25 years. And, well, apparently to some of those leftists, they have a conflicting view with religion. And many of these leftists that are liberal say that Jesus Christ doesn't even exist. In fact, they said that he was... No, that's not small government. What happened was, I'll explain. What about the BLM riots and Antifa riots in 2017? They weren't protests. They were what we would refer to as riots. I mean, sometimes you have to control a bunch of animals if your animals are disrespecting law enforcement and other people that are minding their business. I was in Florida. I don't believe in abortion. In fact, it's wrong to kill an unborn baby unless it's a rape, a situation of that nature. But then there's women who had abortions and wound up regretting them. Yeah, exactly, Tommy. It's just there's a lot of people who don't know the truth. I don't watch any news media. GNR, they're the reason why Nirvana had to happen. So when Nirvana made McGill, Obama was the same douchebag who said Jesus Christ didn't exist and said all these wars were in the name of religion and killing in the name of Christ. What about the atheist that killed the priest in England with a knife? Oh, yeah. You need to have checks and balances. And let me explain something, Rhett. Yeah, Rhett, here's the bottom line. When the Democrats and Republicans of yesteryear worked together, we had a great country. When Ronald Reagan was president and the leader of the Senate was Tip O'Neill, those two used to solve everything over a bottle of bourbon. They would get shit-faced drunk and they'd solve whatever issues. And that's how things were. And that's why Reagan won the president. Reagan won this nation not once but twice. Nixon, he won. Yeah, Nixon. I'm not a crook. And yeah, he resigned. Therefore, I shall resign effectively at noon tomorrow. Sound like he had something shoved up his ass. That's when people ask me if I'm Gomer Pyle. I never had a blanket party done to me. Anyone attempted, my brother JJ would have kicked the shit out of the bullies. I was his Spider-Man. He was the Incredible Hulk. So I had to use my wit and intellect, sense of humor to defuse the Incredible Hulk when the Incredible Hulk got pissed. So yeah, in comic book jargon, he was he handled bullies for breakfast, lunch, and dinner if anyone messed with me. Yeah, Nixon. Nixon prolonged the Vietnam War. Oh my God. But who do you think actually did 9/11? I have grew up in an Irish Catholic household. I attend St. Eugene Catholic. Bless you, man. I am also. Sing, take your Muhammad Hassan rhetoric and get the hell out of here. God, I sound like Stone Cold Steve Austin. My guy, bastard. Anyway, when Reagan and O'Neill got together during Reagan's tenure, they used to solve shit when they got drunk. So Reagan would be like, I want this, and then Tip O'Neill would be like, hey, I want you to slash the deficit in half. And they're like, okay, you got yourself a deal. And they get shit-faced drunk. Much to that Morticia Levin's chagrin. And Reagan won the White House not once, but twice, and won every state except Minnesota. Muhammad Hassan. Yeah, Stone Cold Steve Austin said it that way. Mr. Muhammad Hassan. Yeah, I want to say thank you very much. Kanye, I hope someone puts you in the electric chair, Kanye. If anyone deserves to be in the electric chair, it's Kanye West, folks. I hate that prick. And I don't even like Britney Spears or Michael Jackson either. A tree grow or a Negro? I'd rather watch flies having intercourse. But given the choice, I would watch. I would rather, watching trees grow is good. Palestine go boom. Actually, Palestine and Israel is one in the same place, personally. However, underline, however, it's an inside job it's a tug of war because the government of Palestine is the problem. It's not the people. Happy birthday to your cousin. It's the government. The people of Israel is not the problem. It's the government. The problem is, yeah, Iran. Yeah, the home of the Iron Sheik. Iron Sheik is getting the camel clutch. Sorry, dude. Well, you know something, dude? The Iron Sheik got his ass whipped, brother. Oh, brother. The winner of this bout, and new world wrestling. Original, I'm Irish. Half Irish. My father's full-blooded Irish. Quarter German. So I have a little kraut in me. I'm half Mick, quarter kraut, and quarter, I mean Blackfoot Native American. Excuse me. Do I drink alcohol? The answer is no. Because if you take alcohol and mix it with autism, it's suicide. I look like Cain Velasquez. Who in the blue hell is that? I've never heard such a dude. And I don't look like Billy Corgan either because I don't have my balls cut off. I don't drink alcohol. I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't smoke pot. I don't do any drugs. I don't drink beer. In fact, beer tastes like piss, if you ask me. Oh, MMA, I don't watch it. I don't have any tattoos. I had plenty of scars. That was from a bicycle accident when I was 14 in front of my house. Bike had no brakes. This is a bridge tooth. I had that put in a number of years ago. My original tooth got knocked out. Ritalin. Yeah, Billy Corgan sings like he had his balls removed and his dick removed and he put a vagina right there. Yeah. Well, let's see. Original asks me if I do Ritalin. The answer is no. I can't smoke pot because various different reasons. One, it's a gateway drug because a lot of people who smoke pot wound up going to cocaine, going to marijuana, going to acid, to heroin, etc., etc. Billy Corgan sucks. I apologize, Tommy, but I just could not get into his voice. I mean, I'd rather hear my singers singing with, like they're screaming. Megadeth up through Cryptic Writings did no wrong. Metallica up to the Black Album, they did no wrong. Load and Reload were eh. Saint Anger was eh. I almost gave up on them. Then when Death Magnetic hit, they redeemed themselves. And Hardwired was better. In 72 Seasons, their last album, best thing they've done since And Justice for All, as far as I'm concerned. And I saw the 72 Seasons tour at Gillette Stadium last year. Amazing show. Plus, they played, yeah, Saint Anger. Yeah, despite the fact it was a disaster, it did stay at number one for 2 weeks, and it took the late Luther Vandross, of all people, passed away. The late Luther Vandross's Dance with My Father came out, and that debuted at number one because Beyonce, who could do no wrong at that point, was duetting with him on that record. So the Beyonce fans had to buy it. Typical. Yeah, she was the only. Luther Vandross passed away in 2005 from a stroke, sadly, and health issues. But Beyonce is the last teen queen of the late 90s still standing. Because Christina Aguilera, no one gives a shit about anymore. Britney Spears, thank Christ, is gone. She's now an atheist, blaming God for her conservatorship when it was her self-destructive, drug-addicting stupidity. And it wasn't the conservatorship. It was her stupidity that got her into where she is. Yeah. I mean, Beyonce, nice to look at, but I can't fantasize about a married woman. It's insane. Yeah. Yeah, like it's like in the song "If Shania Was Mine," the parody of "Any Man of Mine." I would love to seduce her, but she married her producer. All I can do is pray, pray she'll get a divorce someday. It's actually ELO's "Out of the Blue." Yeah, Electric Light Orchestra, "Out of the Blue," classic album. Man, oh man, wish I'd seen the classic lineup of ELO back in the day, but c'est la vie. As long as Jeff Lynne is there, it's ELO. I mean, the thing is, being a religious, B want to leave her music and think she's a country singer. And then Britney Spears wants to try and reinvent herself as a Pantera type singer. Yeah. ELO Out of the Blue. Classic album. Did I watch the Becoming Led Zeppelin documentary? Yeah, but there's a better documentary. JCM Led Zeppelin Stories. He is a Zepp scholar. He has done many Zeppelin documentaries. He is the Zeppelin expert. He is with Zeppelin what I am with Pink Floyd. And a few other bands. Let's see. Beyonce, beautiful to look at, but her music is not my cup of tea. I'm attracted to females. I know a lot of hot women, but sometimes their music just does nothing for me. But it doesn't stop me from having crushes on them. No big deal. I mean, most beautiful women in the world were. Here's who I think were the most beautiful women in the world. And people may think I'm mad. Well, how about Iron Maiden? Maiden, probably one of my other favorite heavy metal bands. Got to see them on the Brave New World tour in 2000. I don't believe in that abomination crap. It's all done just a scare tactic. That's fundamentalist Christian horseshit. I'm a Catholic and we don't believe in that crap. Once you've been baptized, you're wind up sin free. I was baptized at 12 years old and learned in the Catholic religion, once you've been baptized, you're free of sin. So I don't have to believe in that fundamentalist crap to scare me. Because the fundamentalist wants us, well, that's how it works in the Catholic religion. The Catholic religion is my religion, and I don't fall for the fundamentalist crap. The Great Iron Maiden documentary, 3 hours long. I got to check that out. Well, I have not seen. I can't, Kevin. I can't. Another reason, my Army sergeant father would have kicked my ass if I did anything stupid. You know? My father would have thrown me to the wolves. No, I don't believe that. The fundamentals religious, those fundamentalist quacks, those fundamentalist morons, those Jimmy Swaggart, John Hagee fuckers, they're assholes. They give religion and Christianity a bad reputation. They're the false wolves. They're the ones preaching hell and damnation. I'm taught in my religion to love one another. That's what I'm taught in my Catholic upbringing is love, not Kevin. Talk to Mark Farner of Grand Funk Railroad. He cusses like a sailor. He cusses worse like me. You know what, you fraud, hypocrite, you? You're out of here. Sorry, folks, but that guy was starting to get on my nerves. I'm like, there's a lot of Christians who swear out there. Look at Mark Farner of Grand Funk Railroad. He calls himself the cussing Christian all the time. I'm cursing, damn, I'm cursing. Oh my goodness. Mikhail, get the hell out of here. Mikhail, go back to Russia, you bastard. What do I think of corn? They suck. The vegetable's good, but the band sucks. Give me Queen any day of the week, twice on Sunday. Oh my god, I'm on roll. I'm on a roll, folks. You know, so I had to ban a few people. Oh, I'm like, you got that right, Eric Sachs. Yeah, because the guy that said I'm, swearing's bad. I'm like, hey, explain Mark Farner of Grand Funk Railroad. He curses in every interview and he goes, I'm what you call a cussing Christian. Yeah, you can be a Christian and cuss. Look at many of the Southerners. Until she became an atheist, Britney Spears had to trailer park trash mouth the size of Texas, for goodness sake. And also check out my episode of Dire Straits will be out tomorrow, so look out for that sometime tomorrow, and definitely come in. Yeah, Follow the Leader was the album that went them to they went to shit. The first two albums were promising, but then Follow the Leader sucks. Swearing was common in the ancient world. Yes, it was. Goes all the way back to the Dark Ages. Yeah. People being disrespectful to me, giving me a bunch of crap. I have to put my foot down. I'm trying to explain that people use profanities all the time. It's a figure of speech. They don't necessarily, and like I said, in my faith, which is the Catholic faith, we were taught that once you're baptized, your whatever sins you had as a kid are automatically abolished, and you're practically bulletproof from sin. It's just how you choose to live your life is the key. I mean, it's very, very difficult. Yeah. My dad's a U.S. Army combat vet, 22 plus years in the U.S. Army, served in Korea during Vietnam, top recruiter for many years under the Reagan administration, and again during the Slick Willie administration, towards the end of Elder Bush's term, and during Slick Willie's venture. Mr. I tried, but I didn't inhale. That son of a bitch. I never liked Clinton anyway. And I didn't like Al Gore either. They looked like they raped the horses and rode off on the women and plundered and pruned the hedges of many small villages. Classic from the Three Amigos. Look, man, you're not my father, Steve. Look, man. Or as Joe Biden goes, come on, man. You're out of here. Steve, go to hell. Sorry, folks. I had to delete that guy. Steve, can't say anything anymore. Stop it. Go home and cry to your mama. Sigma, Go back to rock metal combat. Mr. Pallid, get lost. Hit the road, Jack. Trying to do a peaceful thing, and I have these morons trying to piss me off here. Black Death, I wouldn't call him a king. He's a president. I'm trying to explain. Oh my goodness. I have to say this about Trump. He's not a king, he's a president. I mean, Obama thought he was the king's ass. He was cocky. He thought he was cool. He thought he owned everybody. He was just a MTV manufactured president, just like Clinton was. But Obama, or as James David Manning, who happened to be a black pastor, called him the long-legged Mac Daddy. Oh my God, that's funny. The long-legged Mac Daddy Obama. And Obama was dropping drones on people. It's just he was smug, he was cocky, he was arrogant. We are no longer a Christian nation. The Sermon on the Mount is so radical, and people killing in the name of Christ. Shut up. You're an atheist. Just tell people you don't believe in God, you'll be fine. Sheesh. Let's see. I'm not related to Trump. Trump's the reason, I have what you call a secret like for Trump. Because he's brash, he's bold, he doesn't do what he's told. He tells it like it is. Plus, he's not a politician. He was an outsider, a businessman who got to where he was because people are sick and tired of career politicians. I mean, although Trump now is a little too old, he should basically try and, looking at it, he's done a lot of good, but now it's the time of age he should be in retirement, in the nursing home, enjoying the rest of his life with his wife and his family. I mean, and I don't like Kamala Harris. She's an atheist who pretended to be a Baptist, who got pissed off about Christmas, pissed off about mentioning Jesus Christ's name. Well, if it was up to me, BB, I'm going to vote third party next time. I had to hang up the phone. Hang on one second, folks.